On today's show,
Is Daredevil born again? Again?
Invincible Season 3's penultimate episode is out. Let's discuss that crazy episode.
And I am Steve.
All that and more on BCFM. Welcome back to BCFM, the Beyond Coruscant podcast. Thanks for joining us again this week. I am Cooper. My co-host is Jack. Thank you very much for the response to our videos in the last week or two. We've seen some great viewership and some great interaction with you guys. Much appreciated. We're on episode 5 of the podcast this week, which is insane. Well, it's gone
there
too quickly already. And our lineup this week is fantastic. And let's get straight into it because it's the hot topic of the week.
Yes.
Daredevil Born Again. Jack, I know you're a massive Daredevil fan. What were your thoughts on the first 2 episodes?
Look, I thought they were good. I thought they continuated from the Netflix run in terms of its tone, its kind of style. I was in the, I think, majority with the shocking kind of transition after that first 15 minutes of the first step. I don't know still if I love it or I like it. I don't want to say love it because I don't think it's just something I want to love because we all like Foggy. Obviously, spoiler warning, obviously, if you guys, you know, I mean, I'm assuming if you guys are watching this, you would have seen the first 2 episodes because
Been out for a week now.
It's been out for a while now. But yeah, it's a bold move creatively for Marvel. And I think especially being its first episode of a series that technically hasn't been running for years, like in terms of being cancelled on Netflix and everything. I know we've seen Daredevil in recent projects like She-Hulk. Oh gosh. But I did think it was a bold move in terms of tone and in terms of how shockingly it came out of nowhere and makes you kind of realize that there doesn't need to have to be a build up for such a cause to kind of happen, which I kind of liked. Instead of just your regular like, oh no, we know Foggy's in trouble, we have to protect him, and then he ends up dying at the end or something of that kind of little arc. Then I don't know if that would have hit as hard. I am sad that they brought him back. And like the first basically scene you get to him together is gone instantly. And I'm not really a fan of how they're kind of writing Karen out the show. Like we'll have to see how that develops. But aside from that, I actually think that the show is doing a very good job in how it's kind of being portrayed. It was very enticing the first 2 episodes, and it's definitely like led me to want to keep watching and see how it gets better and evolves over time. I don't know about you, Cooper, but I do notice certain scenes that do feel kind of like they've used the old footage and then just maybe reshot a part of that, like another scene to add to it. Like, for example, the scene where Fisk won his campaign and then he looks over to Vanessa and sees Vanessa standing at the back and she walks away. That did not look like it was like shot at that time because it changed from his perspective looking like he was just like congratulating everyone and stuff. And then he turns and then it just shows Vanessa standing there and she turns away and then cuts back to Fisk. I'm like, because she wasn't meant to be in the, I think she was recast as a different actress, I think, for Vanessa. So things like that. Yeah. Like, I'm not sure what parts they kind of reused from those 6 episodes or so that they shot and what they've redone. But I know people are going to be complaining about the CGI and sort of the moments where Daredevil's in action with his grappling, with his acrobatics, with kind of the way he moves. He's a bit more fluid, which I am personally kind of a fan of. So yeah, the CGI could be a bit more top notch, a bit more seamless, I guess you could say. But when are we going to stop complaining about the CGI and just appreciate what we get? And at this point in time, I want an acrobatic Daredevil. And to be fair, a realistic acrobatic Daredevil is not something you can pull off practically because it would just not look as fluid, or it might just look a bit clunky, like he's doing a slow flip because he's on the wire, and it's not going to look as good. So I appreciate the way that they've made Daredevil a bit more like his comic accurate kind of fighting personality and stuff too, which I thought was a bit lacking in the Netflix show. So, and I really like the lawyering going on. The plot setting up with Muse, they really didn't set up much with Muse, but they're definitely indicating that Fisk and Matt might have to work together to take out a vigilante, he might call himself, but that next level of a vigilante, not someone who actually wants to protect the city, one that wants to take down the city. So White Tiger, he looked great too. And rest in peace to the actor, because it's such a shame, when you can't even get to see a really cool project that you got to do and obviously, celebrate with your family and everything. So rest in peace. He's doing a fantastic job so far. and his storyline is a side plot to the story that I am very intrigued in. I love that whole kind of arc in that second episode. So overall, both episodes were great. I would give him probably the first one. I'd probably give like a 9 out of 10, and then the second one I'd probably give an 8, maybe. That's probably how I'd kind of give it a physical rating. But I feel like with Daredevil, I don't like to give it a physical rating because it is a part of a whole show rather than just episodic, which a lot more of the Disney shows have been happening lately, where it's like episodic and it doesn't really feel like one whole continuation. Where this, like similar to like what we talked about Andor last week on the thing, it has kind of that season feel as a whole. So yeah, overall very happy with it. And let's hear your thoughts, Cooper.
Yeah, I really cannot agree with you more. I think this is obviously we're not going to reach the heights of what Netflix Daredevil was. And I feel like one of the main differences I noticed in that is that it always felt very grounded in Netflix, whereas it almost felt it was Disneyfied sometimes.
Yeah, a bit fantastic.
There were some scenes that just seemed unnatural. I think of the scene, I think it was the end of episode 1, where Fisk is giving his speech of victory speech, and Matt's kind of just walking through the crowd. I thought that seemed very odd and didn't really match the whole vibe. But again, in saying that, this is the story about Born Again. This is about him giving up the mask. This is about him finding his identity again and ultimately giving into that, I guess, drive and adrenaline that makes him the Daredevil. So maybe they're trying to go for something different. The main thing that I really have to critique, I suppose, and this is something I mentioned to you off camera, is the starting 15 minutes of the show. While they were great, the action was fantastic. The long shot of the action was really good.
Oh, yes.
That clearly, obviously, this show went through a lot of reshoots and a lot of redevelopment. I just wonder if this was tacked on just to show that it is a continuation from Netflix.
Yep.
Because clearly Foggy's not a part of it anymore. Clearly Karen's been written out of it. And we're focusing on the new, even the name of the new law firm's changed. It's all changed, and it's the year after. So it just seems, I feel like maybe that's where the initial idea started of let's just put it in the MCU. Let's not worry about the Netflix connection. We'll find a way. But then when they kind of had the realization, they were like, oh, okay, we probably should connect it to the Netflix.
Well, to add to your point on that one, people were even worried or wondering where Foggy's girlfriend was from the Netflix shows, because then they instantly just didn't even mention her, and Foggy was chatting up a different, the lawyer lady instantly. And then also the only character apart from Daredevil himself who's technically should still appear more frequently in the show is Dex. Because but then it was also interesting because he wasn't initially part of the original plans and script either. So that means obviously they reshot this scene, but then every other scene we technically see with Dex would have to straight up mean that was a new shot from from what they redid, because he wasn't even in the original show. So even that courtroom scene with obviously when he went to prison, and I'm assuming we're going to see him again. Why would you send Dex, and why? Is such an important character and such a lethal character. He wouldn't just chill in prison being like, yep, I got my one kill revenge. He would still want revenge on Kingpin. He was the one that basically sent him into the ICU and everything too. So, so it'd be interesting to see if they actually continue his story too, or just practically write him out of the show too and be like, yep, he's just in prison now.
That would be a shame.
That'd be a big shame. I'd be very disappointed with that one. Yeah.
I thought, first of all, credit to all the actors because it was really top-notch acting. I really liked seeing that Matt, and obviously Charlie Cox, great actor,
amazing.
He seemed a lot happier, I feel like, in the first 2 episodes. Granted, I know he's not Daredevil anymore, and he kind of unleashed his anger in the second episode at the end. But I don't know, I enjoyed it. It did remind me of kind of how he was portrayed in She-Hulk. And I know you don't like that show, and I don't really like it, but I found some enjoyment on my last rewatch. But that vibe and that emotion, I guess, of being a bit more positive, I enjoyed seeing that. That was good.
He is a charismatic character in the end. He does have a way with his words, which makes him such a good lawyer. So Yeah, he's not always that, and that's what differs him from like the Batmans and the Moon Knights and stuff. He's not a brooding character 24/7. Batman
Mm,
puts on his Bruce Wayne persona, but Daredevil himself, when he's in that mask, he is a ferocious, beast or an unstoppable force, you might say. But when he's a lawyer, he's a very good lawyer. He's a pretty overall happy guy. He's chill. He's just a chill guy.
yes.
You know what I mean?
He's just a chill guy.
Just a chill guy.
There was one scene as well that really stuck with me throughout the two
Mm,
episodes. And it's one we'd seen in the trailer, they'd promoted heavily, but it went
mm,
on significantly longer than I thought.
mm,
And it really, really got to kind of the core characteristics of our main two characters. And that was the scene
mm.
in the diner. The
Oh
whole
yeah.
setup to that was kind of weird, where Matt kind
Yeah,
of
he's
just
just standing
confronted
there.
him outside of the offices or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's like, can we have a chat? It's like, yes. And then they just walk off. Yeah, I thought that was a bit weird. But the
Yeah.
whole scene in the diner was very cool, and the
Oh
back
yes.
and forth exchanges, and then kind of the
Perfect.
flipping of the script. Like, if you step out of line,
Mm,
I'll be there. But then
mm.
Fisk also saying, if you step out of line,
I'm
then you'll
putting a
suffer the
ban.
consequences. So it's
Yeah.
really cool. And I think, like you said before, it is setting up to be they're going to have to team up. It's
Yeah.
going to be a Godzilla versus Kong sort of
Kong.
situation.
Yeah.
They're going to team up to take out a greater
Larger threat.
evil.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've got nothing but praise besides
Hmm.
the obvious nitpicks for the first two
Mm,
episodes. I really hope they don't do weekly episodes because
mm.
I just feel like this show doesn't need that, but
Yeah.
we'll have to
But
wait and
then,
see.
yeah, I was going to say these shows are perfect for binging, but Disney's never going to do. I mean, well, they're technically doing it with Andor. They're releasing three each, but with
Yes.
only a 9 episode show, even though they're already filming season 2 right now, and that will come out like early next year, I think they were
Oh,
planning.
hopefully.
So they are almost back-to-back seasons, which is really good. But they're going to have to do it singly, otherwise people are going to watch in 2 seconds, and then
Yeah.
everyone's going to cancel their Disney Plus subscriptions, and then boom. So in terms of money
Me.
making, yeah, so it's not financially smart probably for Disney to do all at once or a couple at a
Mhm.
time. But man, I'm excited, and we also still haven't even seen Punisher yet again. So
Mm.
there is going to be some juicy interactions with them too. They always have nice moral kind of dilemmas with between them, and Punisher always thinks that he goes too soft on the criminals when Daredevil thinks he shouldn't cross that line. But now he's kind of seen that if he crossed the line before with Dex, maybe his best friend would still be alive. So
Mm.
it's going to be a very good dynamic, and I know they're going to ace that out the park, and I'm excited.
Absolutely. It kind of feels like a major not a crossover, but
Mm.
kind of it's like almost the Defenders. Did you ever
Yeah,
watch Defenders?
yeah,
Yeah, it's like all these heroes and villains and whatever exist in the
yeah,
same sort of city, and then
yeah.
they come together.
For a thing,
So
yeah.
it's like a mini Avengers. No,
It's like they're like the Defenders.
they're like the Defenders. But yeah, so just seeing it all kind of come together and them all being in the same area and
Mm.
and acknowledging that they exist, it's cool.
It makes the world feel bigger
It does.
instead of being so self-contained. Like
Hmm.
even the mention of Spider-Man from
Yeah,
Kingpin was just so good. Like
yeah.
people dressing as spiders. Oh, like he hates that. I know he does.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So good.
We need a Spider-Man. I don't think a Spider-Man cameo would fit in this show, but we need it in like
Well,
Hawkeye season 2. Get him in there.
yeah, true. But also, Spider-Man now is taking the more, I think, serious a tone with his new franchise, his new kind of
Movie, yeah.
movies. Because if he does another trilogy, that would be 6 for him. But I think he's taken a bit more of a serious Spider-Man thing. So I think
Hmm.
his tonal shifts it might add that quippiness still, but also might fit. It might be that weird transition to get Daredevil into he's in the MCU right now, but he's not mixing with like comedic relief characters from the MCU or anything like that, which we kind of saw in She-Hulk, but that did just feel like he was literally like a Fortnite character, like especially when he just dropped, he didn't really feel like the Daredevil we knew, you know what I mean? Like he was like a cosplayer, like it needs to feel a bit more blended nicely, I think, with that one. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
What a description. He felt like a Fortnite character.
Yeah, he is a
Love
Fortnite,
it.
just
Love
like a
it.
figurine.
Well, you almost forget it. He was in No Way Home as well. That's the
Yeah.
thing. So
But as a lawyer only, which worked well. So
yeah, well, until he well, yes, actually, yes, fair
mm,
enough. He was only a lawyer.
mm.
Yeah, so exciting. Daredevil Born
Hmm.
Again. So far, it's been very good.
So far, so good. Touch wood.
Another show that's been
Oh, yes.
pretty exceptional in the last few weeks is Invincible.
Hmm.
Now, I know from the get-go we said we'd do it 2 episodes,
Yeah.
but this episode was too big to not even
Yeah.
like to not mention this week.
Hmm.
Episode 7, I forgot what it was called.
I forgot the name.
Doesn't matter
The Invincible
because
War episode.
the Invincible War episode.
Yeah.
So the teasers of Angstrom Levy,
Hmm.
of his army of Invincibles, we'd been getting
Hmm.
teasers throughout the season, and finally it happened.
Mm.
Definitely felt like more of a episode 8
Hmm.
episode, but
Hmm.
episode 7, um, some huge consequences in this
Oh,
episode. A
yes.
lot of our heroes who are now dead,
Perished.
or unknown,
Hmm.
which is a bit sad.
Darkwing.
I know, yes, Darkwing, huge sacrifice play.
Hmm.
So what are your kind of, obviously you know Invincible and where it's
Yes.
going, but how do you think maybe the adaptation was?
Honestly, so they did tweak a lot of things with the particular Invincibles who did die and survive. In particular, I'll give you just one example. So Omnimark or Omni Invincible, whatever, he actually died in the comics, like in the war. He didn't survive at the end with the others when he got sent to the portal, and he died to a guy who is a superhero with a yo-yo. So I think his change surviving has made his people like to say online his aura points go through the roof because he was always a cool looking character, but he died to a yo-yo in the comics. So everyone was a bit like, like he got
Mm,
strangled by a yo-yo.
oh my God.
So it's like, that's probably a good change. Like, and for example, like I think having certain changes like that is for the better because there is particular looks and of those invincibles that do you want to know more about them or just see them a bit more. Like I love Mohawk Mark, and I think we're going to get a lot more Mohawk Mark soon because he's actually out of all in the comics, out of all the invincibles, you get a lot of dialogue from him and a lot of perspective with him and how where
Right.
he came from and his kind of thing. And I really and to be fair, I really love the stark contrast about all of them's different kind of what's it called motives and stuff when they're waiting for Angstrom above Debbie's house, and how one of the Invincibles, I forgot the names that they give him, like masked Invincible maybe, where he was full covered with the black mask. He was just
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
I just want to see my mum and I just want to get my mum back kind of thing. That's really sad, you know. Like it's like some of the like he's still evil. He still conquered his world, I'm pretty sure, but he also, I think, killed Omni-Man, and then
Oh,
I think in the pro, a lot of these guys killed Omni-Man. I think in their what's it called, respective
universe.
universes, because I think either they joined Omni-Man, like with the obviously you have Viltrumite Mark, right? So I don't think he ever actually came to Earth. He grew up in
Viltrum.
Viltrum with a different what's it called, mother and stuff. So yeah, he's an exception, and some of them are a bit more exceptions, but I really like the way they portrayed him. I think a lot of them got adequate screen time, but considering there's so many of them. Do you know by chance which one Powerplex killed? Because I'm pretty sure I know which one it is. Because there's two
Uh,
characters in this show or in the episode that killed an Invincible on their own. We had Tech Jacket, who killed Mustache Mark in space,
yep.
and then we've got Powerplex, who killed.
Well, also Rex killed.
Well, true. I guess so. Yeah, like he sacrificed. Well, who survived?
Um,
Who survived? Or like in terms of like taking them out, but also still surviving. He technically just he
well,
went with him. So-
Nightwing. Oh, Darkwing, sorry.
well,
Darkwing.
he technically could be dead too. He's in the shadow realm.
He
But
could
I'm
be.
pretty sure the one that Powerplex took out
Yeah, Tom.
was the bold one with the one who was fighting Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure that's him.
Yeah.
So it just shows kind of, I wouldn't say, people are saying, oh, that shows how powerful they are. But at the same time, it also shows how weak those versions are. For example, Flax and Mark, who died by Donald with Cecil in there, like, no offense. Donald's pretty, like, he's a robot. He's strong, but he's not.
Yeah.
No reaniman should take out an Invincible. That just
No.
shows that there is levels to how strong certain Invincibles are, which
Yes.
I think is cool because it just shows how our Mark, even though people rag on him online all the time, saying that he always loses, he's like so weak, but then he's actually like, compared to other versions of himself, he's one of the stronger ones,
Strongest,
and
yeah.
he's not right now or as a present time really evil. So It just
Mhm.
shows that you don't need to be a purebred, like villain to be the strongest version of yourself.
Yep.
Which I think there is a lesson in there somewhere. I don't know where or how you would use it for real life, but it just shows being bad doesn't always mean you're going to be better. So,
Well, there you
mm,
go. I like
yeah.
that message to the world. That's
hmm
that's very wholesome.
Wholesome. You know what I mean? I'm just
I
motivational
do know what
speaker.
you mean. You are natural motivational speaker. Love
All
it.
right, so your
Um,
thoughts, Cooper?
so yeah, I loved it. I think back to back now, episode 6, episode 7 have been really good.
Mm.
The scene that keeps coming to my mind just while you were talking
Mm.
is I'm gonna say Eve's loss when she gets
Yeah.
her whole freaking leg
Yeah.
snapped,
Yep. Yep.
which was crazy. Granted, I have not had my leg snapped, and I hope I never do. But
Because
would
yeah.
you be knocked unconscious for several days from that? Oh
Yes.
no, stupid me. She probably went into surgery and had that reconstructed back while
Surgery.
she was asleep.
I was gonna say, yeah, but at the same time, if she's somewhat alert, couldn't she low key kind of fix her bones and stuff when she can? She's
True,
Adam Eve. She can manipulate atoms to bend to her will.
true. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
feel like Mark made it seem like she was dying
Dead.
because
Yeah.
he wouldn't leave. Maybe that's why I was thinking that. Anyway, that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good episode. Liked it. I think that I liked that it was so large scale, and they obviously started with day one, and then day two, and then day three, and it's a
Mm,
multi-day thing, and
mm,
it was the efforts of everyone, and we saw some characters we hadn't seen. Um, I would have liked to have seen, and obviously Battle Beast is not on Earth,
mm.
but putting Battle Beast on Earth, what would he
He
have
would have
done,
gone
and who would he have
crazy with
taken
the
out?
Invincibles.
Same as Omni-Man and Alan, put them on
Yep.
Earth.
If
Do
you
the
had the
Invincibles actually win?
if you had those three, including Mark, actually not like staying by the side of Eve the whole time, I think they would have won. Like, or
Mm,
not. Well, technically they still won, but I mean, like, I reckon Angstrom wouldn't have been able to teleport them to that wasteland place. I think they all would have been perished at some point eventually,
yes.
because yes, some of them killed their Omnimans, but does that like that doesn't also equally mean that their Omniman is as strong as our Omniman? You know what I mean?
Correct.
It varies every time, and it is a way to kind of it's a good way to have power scaling within the show. When you have so many of these characters, it's hard to say who the strongest is, but then there's always good reasoning to say, oh, but this one did this. But then you can say, oh, but
Mm,
this one lost to this person, and they might not be as stronger as our one. So, and that's thinking about this actually makes me sidetrack, very big side. Oh, not very big, a little bit. It makes me think of Secret Wars and how they're going to do different variants of each other. For
mhm.
example, it's similar. Like if you had two Spider-Mans, well, that's what even the talk in No Way Home was. Oh, which Spider-Man's stronger than, like, look, nah, he's holding, Tom Holland's Spider-Man to bay and everything. It's like, yeah, but who's stronger?
Yeah.
You can't tell the feats. You don't know really, and it's the same with this. So I think bringing in Battle Beast or even Alan, it would be a team good Invincible win, 100%.
Absolutely. That's just how
Mm-hmm.
strong they are.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really I still don't really like Angstrom Levy. Like obviously the whole tease and setup was for this moment, but it felt so anticlimactic by the end. It's like, oh, he's trying to get Mark into his area, fails, gets his arm cut off, and then is now a servant of someone else. It seems so
There is more, obviously, with the
oh.
servant kind of with the technicians or whatever they
Yeah, but
are.
we haven't had any build up for the technicians. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
It's
we
weird.
got plenty of other seasons to go, and I think the issue with a lot of the comic books of this too, and the difference between watching it is that a lot of these characters have their own like comic runs or a bit more story arcs for themselves,
Mm,
and yeah, it's hard to kind of like do that. They did an anime special, but like they could do more specials, I guess, like that one episode things to just develop their character a bit better. But I think Angstrom, what makes Angstrom good for me is that he's so petty. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like he's not that strong of a character. Yes, he might be smart, but he still underestimates and undermines our Mark all the time. Like
true.
it just showed our perseverance of our Mark and the training that he's done compared to, and that's also why he's stronger than a lot of the other Invincibles. The other Invincibles never went to the GDA. They never trained. They didn't practice. Once they took over or went with their dad, they just thought that they were the strongest. Our
Mm,
Mark's been preparing still. He hasn't stopped
true.
training when the others think that they're at their cap point kind of thing. So
Mm,
it just and I don't think he's not meant to be the big bad of like the show Angstrom, obviously, but I think he's one of those annoying weasel villains of our main protagonist that's always around, never goes, and it's annoying, and that's a good
Yeah.
thing. I think you need one of them, you know what I mean? It's kind of like how Doc Seismic was. Like,
Oh yeah.
he'd show up every time and he's just like, mate, go away. You're not doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like, but I
Yeah.
think he's good for what he is. But yeah, even with Conquest showing up, we probably should mention that. Like,
Yes.
it just proves that there are so much more stronger beings out there and the larger threat of the Viltrum War, because they mentioned it at like the start of the season with like a recap thing with obviously the guy who was helped Alan, what's it called, like regenerate or whatever.
Yes,
He was a Viltrumite, and then they're like, yeah, we got to get Invincible and prepare him for the Viltrum War, and then it just nothing happened since about that. So it's like this is now bringing us back to the larger threat of the entire like franchise, I guess you could say, or IP with the Viltrumites.
Yes.
So it's like it brings it back. It's and I love how it almost gives you no time to breathe between these two episodes. Like it's an uncomfortable because it's like we just seen Mark like fight these Invincibles. The world's in chaos, and then you just see a big monstrosity of a man with scarred eye and like an Infinity Gauntlet glove for his arm on, and then he's looming over. It's like, wow. And then our Mark is going to attempt or use his anger to fight this guy because he's pissed off with the world and everything around him. And it's going to be an absolute brutal fight. And I cannot wait. And it's going to make us very uncomfortable, I think.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that. Goodness me.
It's going to shock a lot of people, and it's going to be a core memory for the Invincible show for sure.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow, you are hyping up. Okay, all right.
It's a good fight. It is a good fight. And there's a reason why people, since the show basically got announced, were excited to see this comic panel come to life.
Okay.
Because where he was like, stand ready for my arrival, worm. Like that has been mentioned in like every Invincible thing forever. Like every part of the fandom, everyone has wanted that to happen. And there is people who are still not sold on Jeffrey Dean Morgan voicing him because no one really expected him to voice Conquest.
Oh,
everyone
that was him?
Yeah.
Oh.
So everyone was expecting like a deeper, kind of more Thanos-y type voice, and it wasn't. So, and I think this is the issue with modern day media and stuff. Like people on TikTok were getting voices of like AI to what they thought sounded cool, and now they're not liking the actual voice actor because it's not how they pictured it. But I'm like, yeah, but this is still good. Like. I don't know. People are too critical nowadays, and I think he did a really good job at delivery. And we kind of get a Glenn rematch from The Walking Dead because both Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character and Stephen Yeun's character,
Are in the show.
he got brutally deathed, I guess, in The Walking Dead. But now maybe he might get his revenge. Maybe. But yeah. So, but then there's still even more Viltrumites that you haven't even met yet. So it's like. There's so many cool characters and so many returning ones and so many cool There's so much more that we have to go. And I can't take the smile away because it's so exciting to just, and people are like whining and whinging about the animation. I'm just happy we're getting this. Like, we're getting
we
good
don't need to
content.
complain.
Like, we're getting so much cool content on these streaming shows in, like, especially this year. This year is stacked with stuff, like pop culture stuff. And yet we're still being a bit ungrateful. Mate, like this is so much better than like what it could have been. Like even like back in lockdown and stuff where we had like nothing coming out. How like sad was that? Like
Yes.
Everything was delayed and everything. So it's just like we got to appreciate what we have, honestly.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I'm very much looking forward to next week's episode.
Oh, it's going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger.
Sounds like it. Yeah. All right, and now the segment we've been waiting for so long. There's a little movie coming out next month. You might have
small
heard
movie.
Based off a
Indie
indie game, small game. It's called Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft.
Yeah, starring Jack Black as Steve.
I am Steve. Oh, Jesus.
How did we get to this point? Now, Jack and I have written down some predictions for the movie. Now, I know there's obviously some people who are going into this movie. I certainly have some friends who are going in with bingo cards and are going to like, stamp it off when things happen.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, Jack and I are going to kind of give you some of our predictions. Do you want to go one at a time?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right.
You go first.
So, I'm going to go pretty basic for the first one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident this movie will gross over $1 billion worldwide. Are you
Really?
kidding me? This is a huge
Ah,
movie. People are going to go see it for the memes.
oh, for the memes, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
reckon
I wouldn't.
easily a
Yeah. Yeah.
billion.
Ah, okay. I reckon there's going to have to be these one-liners that are going to be the death of this film. There is. I don't know if it happened in a trailer already, but there's definitely going to be a. He's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah.
And it's just and it's just death. Oh, there's.
What's going to be behind him though? Is it going to be a
I was thinking
skeleton?
it was going to be the creeper from like that
Oh
trailer
yeah.
shot, but I don't know. It could be like. See, okay. Here's another thing to discuss. I don't actually know who the main villain is because they keep showing these evil piglins and stuff, but that's not how it works. In the,
Yeah.
it's not like the Ender Dragon. So, like, who is going to be the one behind? Like, who is? Is it meant to be like that guy with the wizard stick? Who is that? Who is that?
Oh, I don't even know who you're talking
Like,
about.
I don't know. Like in the recent trailer, there's like a piglin dude with like a wizard cape thing, and he just
Oh,
goes. And he's, I don't know, man.
that'd
Like
be
this
weird.
movie's going to be whack. I don't.
Well, to be honest, I feel like they got to follow a similar formula to what the Super Mario Brothers movie was.
Well, yeah.
Put the most iconic villain as your main
Mm,
villain, and in this case, I feel like the most iconic
mm,
villain or bad
mm,
person in Minecraft
hmm
is
Ender Dragon
exactly. Thank you.
or Herobrine.
Oh,
No.
oh.
Oh, you think he's gonna show up? You think he's gonna show up?
Hey, we'll get to that prediction in a minute. So yeah. So
But yeah, I mean, I think it would have been cool to have the. I mean, they could still. Who knows? I think it would have been cool to have the Ender Dragon be the main villain, but then you actually realize that the Ender Dragon itself is actually not an evil character.
yeah.
It's misunderstood. It's trying to just protect its livelihood. How cool would that be? And then, little do you know, this whole time we've been playing Minecraft, we've been slaying this poor dragon for no
Oh,
reason. When the main threat is the ghasts.
oh, okay, yes. The ghasts are
Mm.
the most painful thing ever,
No
huh?
one likes them in the game.
No. Oh my God.
But just to yeah, so I do assume that there will be some really cheesy one-liners. I think I just gave one example, but there's already I am Steve. That isn't even like one of those memed like one-liners in terms of like the ones that like everyone makes fun of Marvel movies for. But I feel like there is going to be those generic one-liners that people
Yeah,
always say, "He's right behind me, isn't he?"
absolutely.
Or there's some cringy thing like that. There's going to be so many of them.
Absolutely. Yep.
Hmm
Um, I'll add to that.
Mm.
I'm so confident that there will be a creeper on man like
Oh yes, the
thing.
song.
It'll be like a someone saying, "Oh yeah," it'll be someone saying, "Hey, what's that?" pointing to the creeper. And then Jack Black will say, "That is a creeper." And then the guy will be like, "Oh man." Like
Oh my
something
god,
just yeah, really, really
face
like
palm.
natural, but also,
Oh
being the hint.
man.
It won't be like a, oh man, it'll be just like, oh man.
Oh man.
Just yeah, I'm so confident in that. I just
Chicken jockey. Sorry, there's so many memes. Just, I'm gonna be yelling them out in the cinema. Just
yeah,
every
I
time
think
when he
everyone
says
will
it.
be
Chicken jockey.
chicken jockey.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe that this is happening.
I know. So, uh, have you got another prediction?
Look, what's the bet that by the end of this film, the main human characters will go back through their portal, and then they're gonna say to Jack Black, "Hey," and Jack Black's gonna be like, maybe I do miss the real world. Maybe I don't yearn for the mines. This is a dangerous place." And then he's gonna and then there's gonna be some sad moment where they're all gonna hug Steve, and Steve's gonna be like, "I have to stay here. It is my destiny." And then he turns and just walks into the lowering sunset.
Wow.
And then they go through, and then it's like you meant to feel
Credits
bad
roll.
that Steve's stuck in Minecraft.
Oh my God.
I just
Wow.
hope it's not, but I think it's gonna be like a cringy like they're gonna hug Steve, be like, "Thanks for protecting us. We couldn't have done it without you." And Steve's gonna be like, "I'm just doing what I've always made to do," or like some cringy ass thing like, "This is my destiny." And then Jack Black goes off into the distance with his diamond horse armor
Yeah.
on his horse.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Jeez.
More to the point of Steve, I reckon Steve will sacrifice himself at one point in this movie. He won't die,
death.
but he'll
Fake
sacrifice
death.
himself. Like,
Wait. He sacrifices himself, but little does do they know he has an ender pearl in his back pocket, and then tosses it up, and then
oh my
rises,
God.
and then rises from
That
the.
might happen. That might happen. That
They
might
think he's
happen.
dead, and then he just teleports behind him, and then they go, and then he's like, and then he does the good old fashioned taps him on the shoulder, and he goes, "Hey guys," and they're gonna be like,
That will happen. Oh my
"Oh,
God. We are literally manifesting this movie. That's
oh
insane.
no, oh no."
Oh wow.
What's your
Wow.
next one? What's your next one?
I think that there will be a surprise celebrity cameo in
Mm-hmm.
some shape or form.
I agree.
Whether they're voicing like it won't be like a villager, but it'll be like an animal, one of the
Mm.
animals, or like a mushroom or something. I can
A
just
mushroom girl.
imagine like oh who's a good option? Like I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Are you thinking of Minecraft YouTubers?
Nah.
Oh, I think
I'm
there's
just
going to be
thinking
a
of
lot of.
celebrity, like really A-list celebrities just for
Oh
something. Like,
yeah, like Brad Pitt.
imagine, imagine if like Scarlett Johansson or
Mm.
something just was voicing a mushroom. Like,
Yeah, that'd be so random. Yeah.
yeah, maybe not Scarlett Johansson. That's a bad example. I can't think
Like
of one off the
Martin
top of my head.
Scorsese.
Sure, yeah, Martin
Cinema.
Scorsese. Wow.
Oh gosh, this
Um,
movie's gonna be meme.
it is. I've got one more if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
go
have
for it.
any. Okay. I feel like this is the trend of cinema now.
Mm-hmm.
This movie will obviously do well in the box office
Mm-hmm.
because people are going to go watch it because they want
Just
to just
because,
see how bad it is.
yeah,
It's kind of like the Emoji Movie and just all of
yeah.
those sort of movies that
But
came
better.
out.
I think more people were probably more excited for this than
Oh,
the Emoji
absolutely.
Movie. Everyone looked at and was just like, no one wanted this.
No,
Like
exactly.
everyone wanted a Minecraft thing. Maybe
Yeah.
whether it looks like this or not, it could be.
Yeah, no, they needed something different.
Yeah.
But there will be a post-credit scene
Yep.
and it will be with Hero Brian. I am so sure.
Herobrine, and they're gonna
Herobrine.
make this myth into reality for
Yep.
the movie franchise.
Yep. Yep, they will.
Oh,
I just Oh, here we go.
come to me again.
Here we go. Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be post-credit scene, like you said. We're gonna transition through the portal again. So like it's gonna do that thing where it like zooms in and then boof, we're back through the portal and it goes, and then it's nighttime, and you see Steve walking, and and a wolf howls, woo, and then he turns, boof, and it's Jack Black looking evil with red eyes as Herobrine.
Wow. And then fade to black, and then Steve will return in Minecraft 2.
2. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's gonna happen. It is going to happen.
We basically just predicted the whole movie there.
Yeah. I
That's
would.
insane.
Okay, so there has been Lego leaks of this movie.
Mhm.
And especially with that chicken jockey scene where they're fighting and you see the what are they called again? Villagers, or what are they?
Yeah.
Evil villagers?
Pillagers, yeah.
Pillagers. And the set is actually in the Woodland Mansion, right?
Oh.
But I don't know why they called it training in the Woodland Mansion type thing. Weird to begin with. Are we actually going to get to see a full-on Woodland Mansion though? This is what I hope. So I'm really hoping that even with these graphics, I hope we get to see the structures that are so iconic to Minecraft. Like, I don't expect to see a warden. I don't expect to see an ancient city. They're newer things into the game, fair enough. Even, obviously, we should not be seeing the creaking because that literally just got added like not that long ago as the movie was already basically finished. But I hope we get to see pillager outposts, Woodland Mansion. Obviously, we're going to get a village or villages or like any type of thing like that. I hope we get to see even an end city or the Ender Dragon tease. Maybe that might be a tease for a future one too. You never know. I just hope all these things that were so near and dear, and they do in the new trailer they do a water bucket clutch.
Yeah, I saw
So
that.
it's like even stuff like that. Do fun stuff where like they build like they can't see where they're going, so they build cobblestone
Towers.
like just tower upwards just so they can see. Like stuff like that. Like they need it. Or okay, please tell me they're not playing hardcore, right? I hope they're not, unless they say it's hardcore. But if it's not a hardcore like You know how like in Jumanji they're like, oh, we have 3 lives and all this. I hope it's not hardcore in this where they have 1 life and then they die. I hope not. I hope they all make their beds, they set their spawn, and then they bring their beds to like go on a journey, and then they all put their beds down. One forgot to reset their spawn, and he's back at the start where they first spawned in.
Oh yeah,
and then you have to run all the way back.
There'll absolutely be that. Oh my god.
There has to be like just stuff like that every Minecraft player at some point in time has experienced. And something, or when they're enchanting, they go for the clutch and go, "Ooh, Unbreaking 3. That sounds good. I hope I can get the other good thing with it." And then they just get nothing.
Yeah.
Like Bane of Arthropods or something. And they're like, "What?"
Bane of Arthropods. Oh my god.
You know, just something like goofy like that will just add to the realism of us playing it as a kid and stuff. And even now, like, it'd be perfect if they do callbacks to kind of the gamers, I guess you could say, themselves. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Yeah. Well, please drop your predictions in the comments below, because we want to hear them. The world wants to hear them. Yeah. We can't wait for this movie. I can't remember what the release date is. It's sometime in April, early April, I think.
Definitely going to be watching it though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just for the memes, for the lols, for a good time.
Do it for the meme. Yep.
All right. That brings us to the end of another episode of the podcast of BCFM. Thank you for checking it out. We will see you next week.
Thank you.
See you guys.